Hey everybody, it's Marty, the JavaScript party, and Rhett's out in the living room. It is a Thursday night edition, a rare evening edition. It is 6:40 p.m. Tomorrow I'm going to start work a little earlier than normal. I'll upload this video tonight, but I'll set uh, YouTube to publish at 8 a.m. Um, and I don't think I'll be doing any videos on Saturday, but Sunday I'll be back at it. Um, I did think about. I was like, oh, there's no reason to tell, but like I know that when I've watched, sometimes there's a few people I watch that don't have a whole lot of viewership, and when they are like super regular and then they miss, I always get a little nervous. So I didn't want anyone to get nervous. Yeah, I'm fine. Me and my wife are going on a much needed little trip. I'm a contractor, so I don't get a vacation, but this will be like the first time that I get to go out of town for the whole year. So since this last time for this exact same conference a year ago, we're just going out for Friday night and then we're driving back on Saturday evening. But it's really nice. I always get really a lot of like ideas and thoughts and stuff like that when I'm riding on a road trip. So we're headed up to Tennessee. The animals will be fine because my youngest son's he lives with us, and so he'll keep an eye on them. Rhett should be fine. Um, Everybody should be good to go. All right, so we so we I don't know if you could hear Rhett out there. She's just laughing. Um, so of course now that's probably my wife calling me. I'm confident she's just calling to see if I want her to pick up some food or something, and I'll just let her do whatever she wants to do. Let her do. She could do her. So we lost a little bit of ground in our unit testing. I definitely gained a lot of ground. I knew how to do sort of higher order functions and stuff like that, but I always needed to sort of do lookups and stuff. But now we have our availability factory function. And this is in JavaScript, I think it's called a predicate factory function. And basically what it does is it returns a function that does the logic that I want it to do, but it has these variables: viewport with current viz and current row. Um, it has visibility to those. So basically, it just creates a function that knows what these three values are, and then it has the logic. And so we don't have any any unit tests around that. So basically, the way you do that is we'll create a unit test and use a function called it, and it takes I think it could take like up to 4 sort of arguments. Let's see. Expectation, assertion, and a timeout. I guess it's just 3, but only the first 2 are required. So what do we expect it to do? We expect it to uh, determine if a row is available. Determine if a row is available. And then we will pass it a function. And basically, what we want to do is we need to create a visualization. So here's a visualization. The visualization, see, it passes this to get row siblings. So do we have get row siblings? Okay, for pretend. So probably we need this. Probably would be perfect, except we do need a row, which I believe would be 0. So let's go ahead and just copy all of this. Again, I don't really know for sure, but I do think that I, in my personal experience at jobs, uh, unit tests have been a lot easier to maintain um, if you copy paste. That does not go for any other code that I've ever been experienced. with, but um, I have actually been in a situation where it was just like, oh my gosh, we're updating 2,000 unit tests and they all have the same copy paste, and it could have been a function. Um, and that was hard, you know, it wasn't easy, but it was definitely easier than I've been in places where it's like, oh my gosh, this is a function that gets used in like 3,000 unit tests, and I can't figure out if the unit tests or if the unit tests are still testing stuff because this function just sort of swallows things up or whatever. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like this is one unit test or a situation where abstraction, I don't know if that helps you or not. Now, maybe in 6 months, if you know, I'll probably still be working on this project. I probably won't have had any finished any features because this project is moving like at a glacier speed. But maybe in a few weeks it'll be like um, a it'll be like, oh my gosh, you know, this is a disaster. I'm redoing all these. You know what? I'm just gonna make a function that does this for all of them. I don't know. We'll see. I guess that's why I'm doing this, is so I can learn that. So we want an availability function. So we're going to get a function, and that is equal to service dot availability factory function. And the first thing is the visualization. So I'm going to say that that's current mock viz. And then it is I'm sorry. The first one is a number. It's the width of the okay, so it is the viewport width is the first thing. And then the second thing is the current visualization. The third thing is the row. Viewport width, current mock viz, and current row. And I think I'm calling it row. All right. So let's see if we hit save, if anything breaks, we should get a warning telling us that we have a oh, I didn't even run my test. npm run test. Once this thing runs, we should see, well, I guess we won't see anything because the problem is the function that it returns isn't used. Now, I guess I don't even actually use it yet. I need to add this availability function in here. Oh, and I guess that's why it gets called, because isRow gets called. So then this gets called, but then I don't ever use it. So basically I should replace everything from here to here, with this availability function. So actually, I guess I'm writing the test before I'm actually using it. I'm definitely not like advocating unit tests at all, and I definitely, absolutely, am not advocating for. So nothing broke, so that's good. And I'm absolutely not advocating for I'm not advocating for test-driven development for sure. I mean, I'm not advocating against it either. I'm just not advocating for it. Availability function, and we're going to call that, and we're going to pass it our viz. So that's current viz, and we're going to pass it an index, which I don't even think it matters, but I'm just going to say 0. And then I'm going to give it our viz list, which is our siblings. And there we go. So now we're executing it. We'll see if that works. I've had a lot of luck with that working, so I don't expect it to not work, but it wouldn't blow my mind if it didn't work. Yep, there we go. So now, oddly enough, we don't get where the ST renderer ID, and that, I guess that makes sense because we don't have an ST renderer ID on any of these. So it actually surprises me that nothing broke, but that's good. So let's give this an ST renderer ID of ST ID of 1, and then this other one is ST renderer ID of 2. And then an ST renderer ID of, oops, I didn't change it, 2, 3, and 4. So our current mock viz will be render ID number 4. Let's see what happens. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if something in here breaks because maybe we don't have something that it needs. Nothing broke. Now, for some reason, when we executed it, it did not. It never got to this line of code, oddly enough. Availability function. And we're executing it. So for row 0, oh, so now I know for this rows, we definitely want to have a top, ST top. So everybody's going to get an ST top of 0. Yeah, see, this is the one that kind of does this. And ST top of 0. And I think what we're expecting is for it to be false, but it's weird because it's not getting in here. And const. Available. And so I think that this is going to return a true, but since our viewport width is 150, it should return a false. But if it was working, it doesn't seem like it's working. So expect available, available to be false. Yep, and so for some reason it got a true. It doesn't seem like it's getting in here. Our current viz is current mock viz, which has a top of 0 and a render ID of 4. We're sending in. Oh, but it only, what does it do? We're sending in a viz, which is current mock viz 1, and the viz list. Oh, but it's trying to compare to this viz, current viz. So we actually did not. So this should actually be the very first viz. So basically we sent in the same one. So we sent in, it only checks one. It doesn't iterate. This function doesn't iterate over all of them. It just checks one. And this is not the current viz. This is the viz the one you're checking against the list. Now, if current viz const row siblings. Oh, and then that sends all the. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. Ah, that's good. Good news. I don't. I think I have a. I think I fully understand it. I don't think I'll understand it in 10 minutes, but I feel like I fully understand it now. Yep. And now we have full coverage, and that makes sense to me at this moment. Um, I wasn't thinking in terms of it's iterating over everything over here. I was thinking in terms of it's um, uh, I wasn't thinking of terms of it's a single iteration in the loop. I was thinking in terms of it's checking over the whole loop. This does check over the whole loop, which is like weird because it's like, okay, I'm iterating over the whole loop, and then I'm going to go in here, I'm going to iterate over the whole loop again, the row siblings. Um, I don't know if that's the most efficient way to do that. Well, no, I'm not. I'm okay. So this I'm iterating over all visualizations. This I'm just iterating over its siblings, its potential siblings, potential siblings. So again, I don't think that is the best of the best of the best ways to do this, but I don't think it's terrible either. Um, so now let's call is row available, and we'll give it row number of 0, the current viz, and the list of visualizations. So let's try that. So I'm going to make this a let. And we're just going to reassign it. I guess I can totally see why people absolutely fall in love with unit tests. I really do. Like, I definitely am feeling an affection for it. I'm not convinced that it's a good thing for a, like, I definitely would not, again, you know, I know I sound like a broken record, but I would not advocate for that. So this is a little bit different. This is like kind of like um, assuming that there's only one row. We could like assume multiple rows, but so let's just make sure nothing breaks when we run it. Oh, you know what? I'm crazy. And then I believe available should be false. Right. I don't think I ever refresh. Oh, yeah. So that all that ended up being called. So it did end up saying available is equal to true, and I thought it should be false. Mm, right, because it's like is row available, and I gave it row 0. Row 0 is full, and I gave it the current mock viz, and I gave it all the siblings. Oh, but then it uses this viewport width, which is not set. All right, so is row available? So I feel like I should find where we use it. Well, first of all, let's just make sure everything still works. Add. So far, so good. And there's the moment of truth. Yeah. So that's working. Okay. So first step is, I guess, to use our new availability function instead of the instead of having this passed in anonymous function. Um, and I think I have to do a bind this on it. Don't think it's going to work. Yeah, see, it didn't work. And then I think if I say dot bind and I pass it in, ooh, we don't want that quote, that semicolon this. Now I think it will work because of basically all the sentences I said in the last video where I was like using the bind method to now let's see. Nope, it did not work. Let's see if we have a message in the so I don't see an error. So I guess that unit test is right. For some reason, that other code that we had was returning something different than. Well, no, wait. No, it was the unit test was still broken, but it was working. Let me hit Control Z. Oh, it wasn't. I don't think it was rebuilt yet. Okay, so that's working, but our availability function is not working. Availability function gets it starts with true, and then if it ignores anything that's not that, and then it gets all calls this, which is the same thing. This dot get row siblings. I'm curious what our 87.5. All right, so basically our unit test, I think, is telling us the truth. It's telling us that, like, we're expecting this to be false, right? Because we're passing it in a current mock viz, which is sitting at 0, 0, which doesn't even matter. And then we're passing in the siblings, which are these. And they're sitting, oh. That's right. Viewport width. So what we need to do just for now, and I don't want to leave it like this, but I'm going to say service dot viewport width is equal to 150. The problem, I think the problem is that this guy here is not set. Yeah, so now we're getting the right value back. For some reason, it's not working, and I don't think I'll get to the bottom of that today, but I do want to change this to something I pass in instead of getting off of the services attributes. I guess I should talk louder. Okay, this is viewport width. Viewport width. And that's a number. And then let's, pretty sure is row available is only called once. So we'll just change that to pass it in, and then we'll get rid of this. And then over in our visualization spec, comma, view port width. Viewport width. I'll save that. I don't think that's going to fix the problem, but that'll give me a good place to start. Okay, so that shouldn't have broke anything. We should be good. And so, and our test coverage has gotten a lot better. Yeah, we're up to 87.5 now. And then, okay, so just for fun, before I log off, I think what I need to do is close the door and talk louder. I noticed that a lot of people because the problem is that I have it completely maxed out in volume, and whenever Rhett makes a bunch of noise, it goes off the screen, but it's just me not talking loud enough. So, all right, so let's try this again. Try this again. Let's just see if the unit test still passes. The unit test still passes and the application breaks. I'll be a bit disappointed in the unit test. Oh, okay, so, ooh, I'm proud of you, unit test. And this is broken. That is cool. All right, so now this is not working properly. For some reason, this function, if you get a bunch of visualizations, you iterate over them. It's not going to give you the right values back. And it probably is easier to come in here and, well, we're expecting it to be false when it comes back, but it's coming back as true. And basically, we expect it to go all the way through down to here, and something's different in the way that yeah, I'm not sure. But anyways, I think that's good for today. We're going to go back here. I'm just going to put a little note for myself for Sunday to do, figure out why availability function is not working. So now in our test that we actually do here, all we do is check Mach1 viz against all the siblings. And that actually returns the false. But for some reason, oh, let's try that, because yeah, it probably should have been current Mach viz up here. No, that literally I just went through this in my mind a second ago. So let's see. So this returns a function, and this viz is going to be the one that we're iterating over. And then basically it's taking the viz list, and then is that right? I don't think that, now that I think about it, that logic doesn't seem right. Um, oh yeah, because okay, so this is doing something different. This is setting, oh, that's right. That is right. What we wanted to do is create a function where we said, um, available equals, and then all of this. So, oh yeah, that's crazy. And I think I actually made this mistake last time when I did this higher order function thing, where like this sets a value. This, like, as a side effect. See, this is a for loop that's setting available as a side effect, but I don't want to set the value as a side effect. I want to um, just get the value. I want this to return that value. Yeah, this is crazy. I've really tweaked out my brain here. Okay, so yeah, so over here yeah, I know I'm just repeating this over and over again. Right over here, what we're doing is we're iterating over there, and as a side effect, we're setting the value. Then over here, we're not iterating over it, and as a side effect, setting a value, we are um, just returning true or false based on an individual item, which is fine. I think, no, that's not fine. Hey, I did that completely wrong. Um, because, yeah, what I want to do, what I really want to do, what I really, really want to do is so this is going to check. Oh, okay. Check visualizations. Get row siblings. Oh, okay, so this gets all the visualizations on the given row and returns whether there's room for a new one or not. Okay. So I'm going to create another function. Row has room. And it's going to return a Boolean. I'm always amazed at, because this happens all the time, where like you're working on code and then you realize that you've become completely and utterly deluded. Okay, so this thing needs to know a visualization list. That's the very first thing it needs, because that's what it's going to iterate over this. So viz list. And I think that's all visualizations. ST visualizations. And then it also needs to know the viewport width. I guess we, at least, if nothing else, we kind of sussed out all the, does it need to know the current viz? I don't think it, okay, I know it needs to know the viewport width, right? When we go through here, once we have all these visualizations, okay, we need to know what the current viz is, right? Because current viz is, yeah. So current viz is this thing that gets passed in. So current viz. And what did I call it? Okay, so I called it visualizations. So I think I should just call it visualizations again. Why add another moving part? I guess I never thought about it before, but you can do this. You can just go and then like select it. And you can see, okay, it was used up there. Okay, what about current viz? Yep, it's used right there. And then viz is this guy right there, so we don't need that one. And then I think we need some stuff in here. Viewport width. And that's going to be a number. Viewport width. Project. Project your voice. Number. All right. And okay, I already have that. And so then I know that we want available to be true by default. And I got completely screwed up. Let available equals true. And then basically we just want to for loop all of these through all of these. And we want to return available. And row has room. And according to this, I did it again with the capital viewport, and we do need the current row. Man, I really sabotaged myself there. That's a bummer. Okay, so now what we really want to do is we want to say available is equal to row has room. We want to pass in our visualizations. We want to pass in our visualizations. We want to pass in our current viz. We want to pass in our viewport width, and we want to pass in our row. I thought it was called row, current row. And we hope that works. Hit save. Is it done building? Yeah, it's done building because we had stuff on there. Add viz, add viz, add viz, add viz, add viz, add viz. Okay, so that seems to be working. I'm just going to reload, just make sure I didn't get an old. So that appears to be working. Now, I think availability function is still, no, availability function doesn't even work at all because it's a side effect. Availability function returns a value, but this is a side effect change. I don't know how I feel about that, it being a side effect, but I do know we don't want this. Now this should break our unit test because, oh yeah. You know what, let's not do that. Let's do this. Man, I just got so delusional there. It's bizarre how delusional you can get. You know, you think you sort of get an idea of how something's supposed to work, and then you kind of get a little bit distracted, and next thing you know, you're doing it completely wrong. Okay, so our unit tests are still unhappy because we're like unit testing things that don't exist. And then, but there's nothing easier than getting rid of a unit test. So we need to declare it. And we're off. Okay, so the unit tests are happy. Let's look at our coverage. Coverage is happy. We're back up into the B range. We got 3 untested branches. Let's see what we have here. Get viz for component. So again, this is another example of sort of a side effect. I don't think this should be hard to test though. I mean, get viz for component, I don't know what that does. We probably need to pass in a variable. Oh, here's one. Get next available top. So I think okay, so I think if we, this one might get covered if we just add a third mock viz. Oh, another mock viz. Mock viz FOA. So I think what's happening here is that it's trying to, it always finds one with 0. It never finds one where it wasn't. Okay, so the height on these, I don't have a, oh yeah, I don't have a height on these. I think I have height, but I'm just gonna make it 50. And the render ID, this one is 4, and then this one becomes 5. See, these are like the subtle differences that get like, kind of make things really weird when you share like a function that returns stuff. So I'm hoping that now that we have one that's not at the same height, that we'll find well, I don't know. I don't know exactly. Yeah, unfortunately that didn't do it. All right, so anyways, now we're gonna have to figure out how to test this. Basically, we want to give it a viz get visualizations, this dot viewport. Oh, I guess, yeah, I don't know what it's getting for these things. See, the problem, okay, so yeah, the problem with this function is it's trying to grab data off of the state instead of, or off of the attributes, the service attributes, not off of the, not getting passed in, and it makes it a lot much harder to unit test. I'm guessing get next available top. So this is line 231. So we did move up a little bit. I'm guessing this probably only gets called from one place. And I'll be honest with you, like I think I understand the overall 30,000 foot. So I think the problem where I got so diluted in that last sort of episode is that um, my overall understanding of the higher level of what this application is supposed to do is diminishing. It's for sure diminishing, but I'm getting a deeper understanding of what each individual function is supposed to do. It's hard to keep all of that stuff in your head at the same time. All right, so yeah, over here in this thing, set calculate positions, I only pass in the viz, but it looks like what I should do is pass in the visualization list and the viewport width. And then it'll be a lot easier to unit test this one. And I think all my problems was in that function that calls this. And I think this one's going to be really hard. This one, oh no, that shouldn't be too bad. Actually, this one should be really easy to test. And then this one shouldn't be too bad either. Insert viz component. This get viz for component, viz component. Yeah, that might end up being hard because we are going to have to actually have a DOM element on there. But man, we are closing in on 90% on the branches. We got 3 branches to go. As you can see, every single one of them at the end is like pulling teeth, and that has been like kind of one of the things I noticed about like a lot of places where they have like sort of a limit. They're like, okay, we want 65% coverage. Is everybody ends up unit testing sort of the same type of thing, and that kind of defeats the purpose because probably the stuff that needs to be unit tested most is the stuff that's the hardest to unit test. At least it's the hardest, at least at first. I have to say though, this I think is so much cleaner than this. And then we just took kind of this mess here and just moved it. Now I think this is not easy to understand, but I think it is like there's not a lot going on. So like you can get row has room, and then probably would make sense to call this the row because I think it's just supposed to be the siblings, right? But anyways, yeah. So tomorrow or Sunday, we'll be going after this one. The first step will be to purify it, get this guy and this guy where they're no longer getting information off of they're just getting it directly from the arguments, not off of the service attributes, and then write the test. And then this one I think is going to be pretty straightforward. Yeah, because all it's trying to do is get that visualization for a specific component. So actually, no, that's for a viz component. Yeah, so actually, no, that should be easy. Viz component st render input ID. I'm actually very confused what I was even doing there. St, this is a function. Oh, it's probably, is that a signal? Line 121. If this is a signal, then yeah, this might be a lot harder than I was thinking. Oh, yeah, it's a signal. Yeah, oof. So I'm going to probably want to, since it is just a single number, I'll probably want to turn this into a variable that basically just, um, and then create viz for component. So this creates, is this, am I looking at the right thing? Oh no. So, okay, so that one, line 145, does get covered, but it's line 121. Yeah, so we're going to want to pass this in as to oh no. Well, I guess it won't be too hard. I guess it wouldn't be very hard to mock a function that does this. So viz component, I guess, is the get viz component. Yeah, that's weird. Okay. Okay, viz component gets passed in. Okay, so when I pass this in, I need to pass it in with a function. Like I need to create a viz component, and it needs to have a function on it called st render input id, and it needs to return a number. Um, it needs to return the same number that this visualization, which is in here in this for loop, is that. So that is, yeah, that's funny. That's interesting. That's not too bad. Um, and then our last one will be this guy here. And this is upsert. And basically we're already calling it for if there's none and else, but we aren't calling it if there's already an existing visualization. And then this get viz component. And I'm guessing upsert gets called outside of this application. Oh, maybe not. Set up visualization items. Looks like that actually gets called here. So let's see. I didn't even check the other ones to see if they're getting called, if it was getting called, but it would have broke. Okay, yeah, so this is the only place it gets called. Unfortunately, so all this line of code, okay, so basically we need this existing visualization to equal something so that these get called. So that these two lines get called. So, and I guess that shouldn't be a problem. We'll just have to mock out something, the get viz component maybe. Get viz for component. Component. Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyways, we're close. We're close, probably. But it's just like it's been really, truly pulling teeth every the like as we get closer, it just gets harder and harder and harder. And we're spending weeks and weeks and weeks on this. And like next is going to be end-to-end testing, so that's going to be interesting. That should be fun. And we don't even know if everything's going to work because I kind of just sort of got everything working and then decided to go through unit testing because I felt like the architecture was solid. I just thought there might be some details missing. Um, but, just for fun, let's see, turn reflow off. No, yeah, add, 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 add. And then I think we want to go here, delete, and then, so now we only have four of them. Now we go back to here, and then add, add. So it does seem like it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's kind of funny because like you can't really tell, but I don't think it's that big of a deal because I think once they're different things, it'll be better. But I do think now that I think about it, it does seem to be working. Um, so, anyways, happy coding, everybody. I hope everyone has a great Saturday and Friday. Like I said, I won't be making a video tomorrow or Saturday. So happy coding. Bye.